Anyone notice I missed out 5?
Yes,
Hello.
absolutely noticed you missed
I noticed
out
you missed out 5 too, but I counted a little faster.
It
so
tilted
I
in.
was
I could see
expecting you to
Ian
say
like just
two,
instantly go.
two or something.
Welcome to another side quest.
It's not another side quest. It is the side quest.
It's the side quest. Welcome to the side quest, a
This isn't
continuation
the main quest.
of last week's stream,
but with Dean.
but with Dean. We replaced Scott with Dean because
Better.
Very good upgrade. We're all happy.
because Scott's wee little child is puking all over him. And
Literally won't puke anywhere else.
just only
Please,
on
just,
him.
Just do it in the bowl, and she just reflects into the bowl over her head on him.
It's quite
Terrible.
impressive.
Magical.
It's very impressive. But as last week's side quest went so well, we're going to continue that immediate story. And we also have had some time to talk about fish beforehand. Just so you know, we were talking about fish beforehand.
I made a
As-
really good tilapia joke and everyone laughed very hard.
Yeah, the dog enjoyed it the most.
Yeah.
So, what happened last week? Well, the party, which is a slightly different party from this party, because they were led by Slade, and by led I mean Slade was there. He'd probably say he led them, but he was there.
Talked a lot.
He talked a lot. Were given a job in the city of Northenden to kill a man. And they weren't exactly happy with it, but they did it anyway, because money, and also they were promised to get a way to cure Slade and Ellis from the fact that they've been aged into prunes. In the end, you were given one cure, and you actually a lot of money. The people who got money, which is Adri and Ross, were actually given a lot of money. But ultimately, they were the guards found them and embraced the person who gave you the quest, got away while being very unhappy with you lot, and Ellis got arrested. So this stream continues directly after, and by directly after I mean a few days, because what happened after, immediately after, is Ellis gets arrested. She's caught with the head of the man that they killed. His head, his decapitated head. She is arrested, and luckily, because of the part of the world they're in, not killed on the spot. Ross and Adri get away. Adri, I believe you said that you have disguised self, so you were going to like swoop and disguise yourself and get out and meld into
Yeah,
crowds.
I actually probably would have abandoned my glaive because it's very obvious.
Yeah, so you two get away, and you don't see Slade. Slade didn't come with you, so you two get away, and I imagine get back to the Terrific Toad Tavern and just think for a little while.
I probably would have hung around because I could disguise myself to see what happens.
Well, to see what happens, you definitely saw her get pulled away in manacles.
Okay.
That's without a doubt. But there were a lot of guards, and it would be quite like you'd be like, "Excuse me, Mom, could you go over there, please?" Like that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
so I tried to keep an eye on her, and I would say, like, "Excuse me, man," like a duck out of a corner, change disguises, like once, like come out as like a.
Do you
want to
actually straight up follow her?
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually.
I'll allow it. Give me a stealth roll for that sneakings. And you know what, Ellis? She's disguised, so you don't even get a perception roll. Doesn't make no dang sense, does it?
You know what, Alice? Screw you.
Well, okay, with that, you absolutely can follow the entire thing. She is taken down to like a local guard tower.
Called the Paradise City.
She's taken down to a local guard tower and spends, I imagine you don't do this for too long, but you go back and forth checking, is there for the better part of the most of a day, because this was fairly late at night. It actually was night. So for the most of the day, she's there. And then in a carriage with several other people is carted away outside of the city. And I imagine you don't immediately follow outside the city because you are an urban ranger. You probably
It's true.
are like, okay,
I would have told the child to go to like the bar that we met at, and I probably would have met him back up with him there.
Okay, well you can meet back up with Ross. Just for ease, it has been a day's time since she's gone back, so you've had time to rest, you've had time to recover your
Shop.
spell slots, to shop. So, go. You meet back up at the tavern with him. You know that she's been carted away. She was carted away yesterday at this point now.
I would let him know that she was taken away. And a general direction.
She was taken away to the northwest.
Well, what about Slade? Perhaps he'd know some way to get her out or pay off her bounty? I'm not entirely sure how the judicial system around here works.
I did not see him. I didn't see his body carried away.
That might be a problem. I suppose the first step would be to speak to someone with regards to Alice. Perhaps pose as a family member? I mean,
That
I
worked
could,
for
you
you in the
could.
past.
If you would like to do that, you are more than welcome to.
Just to find out what might happen to her, I suppose. Rather than just leave her to rot in jail, it seems a bit harsh considering she helped us get away.
I can perhaps take you there.
Perhaps we should go in the morning, just in case there's any guards still looking about for suspicious people late at night, say.
Sure.
Alright, so next morning, what's your plan? After drink and eat and don't have to do money for
To
what's the rest?
maybe go and talk to the guards of the area, see where he may have been taken to, and then take him there in guise of a family member.
That's absolutely fine. You would go back to the same guard tower that you saw her get taken into. So she was taken out further northwest. You probably followed that carriage go through the city because it went like along the city from one side to the other to leave because you're
Also, I would buy a new glaive.
yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
You can buy basic stuff in the city. That's all good. So you can head back down to the guard tower. The guards in Northern, they're up for this kind of conversation. They have essentially front desks to these kind of places where commoners can go in, ask questions, or go in and rush in and be like, my cat's on fire, or I've had my purse impersonated, all that sort of stuff.
Impersonated. Oh, very good, Ollie.
That's too real, Ollie.
You laughed.
Too real.
You laughed, so it's a good joke. That's how it works.
That's true.
So you guys can go in without any kind of problem. Ellis, you do know that at least some guards saw you for a split second. Because they barged into the room and you slipped out the window at around about the same time. So you know there's a chance, even though you got away perfectly, you might be recognized if one of the guards that barged into the room sees you and is lucky. This is disguise yourself.
Yeah, but I can't help you. Sorry about that. I wanted to see if it was just me or other people. I didn't remember.
You can just help him. You can help him, but Ross was not seen by the guards by your reckoning.
Oh, cool.
Unless he was clumsy and is escaping, which happened at the end of the session, and he's fine. And Ross is just
I'm
like an
disguised
innocent...
as a young, human woman.
Yeah, you can do that. You can magic away your ears and look aged and tired, like a human.
Like a human would.
And you guys can go in, and it's one of those things where you go in, and the guards here, I mean, half of it's, you see, are scribes. People who are basically doing the paperwork for the guards. So, I mean, there's a lot of paperwork you need to do. Even, need to get money for the rations, because every guard needs to carry some rations, just in case. There's all this stuff going on. There's quite the bustle. Also, what's going on a lot is because Northwood's in a heat wave at the moment, despite the fact this session is right before Christmas. There's people ferrying water around a lot. And there's not necessarily always would be a water fountain, but there's a a big bowl of water with cups for like anyone can have, and you see there are guards standing around it, standing at the water cooler, relaxing because it's fucking hot. Well, it's
Very
fucking
festive.
hot for the place in the world, and you're very festive. I did think, was like, can I even slightly make this festive? No. Yeah, you guys come in, and because of all the hustle and bustle, you aren't immediately, like, taken care of. There is a desk, there are people to talk to. You would talk to these scribes. You probably wouldn't bother one of the actual guards. They're also sort of busy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we queue up at the desk then.
The only other person in the queue is a guard who is bringing in someone who just appears to be, because this is in the northeast of the city, which is essentially called the Bastilian district. He's bringing in a tiefling who was, maybe you look at the paperwork, maybe you don't, doesn't seem to be any kind of serious criminal, but has him, is arresting him. And after they deal with that, one of the dwarves at the counter sits up. It's like, oh, hi lad, what do you need today? Like, slurps loudly.
I was informed that my aunt had been arrested for some sort of crime in the city. I was hoping I could visit her and find out the circumstances.
Name?
First name is Ellis.
The rest of her name?
I'm actually hoping to keep the family name a secret for now. My father told me that I'm not to let that slip, as it might affect the family reputation.
Of course. He looks you up and down. Ross looks like a noble child. We've already been over this. He's too neat. Because he's a bard. And he kind of just groans. You're going to have to give me a persuasion check just for this guy to even try. Like, this is a bunch of effort he doesn't need to do. With a +8 persuasion, he sighs and then looks like behind you. And behind you is like, let's just say, aside from Adri. Adri is directly behind you. Behind you is what you would describe as a bitch mother who appears very upset about something going on. And you can see the dwarf going through the process in his mind of, I would rather deal with him than deal with her. So I'm going to look. And he just, like, one moment, and then goes, and then comes back with a bunch of papers. Half of it's written in Dwarven, half of it's written in Common, and he doesn't even go back to the desk. He goes to like a table nearby, and motions for you two to come over, and just puts like a box. Like, she was arrested recently then, I assume.
Yes, the other day, I understand.
Alright, well, here's who was arrested yesterday, here's who was arrested the day before. Looking for an Ellis, and he starts looking and prompts you two to start looking too, because this is going to take a while.
I would help.
Yeah, I can read Common and Dwarven, so I can just go through whatever.
I cannot read Dwarven.
It's one of the things where most things in Northumberland are in both. Very rarely is something written in secret, and actually things that are written in secret on these documents are usually in Abyssal, Bastilian text, which is funny. Because a lot of the guards in this side of the city are tieflings, because here, you might as well have guards from the area of the city be patrolling that area, it just makes more sense. So you do find it takes you, Aaron, roll me 2d4.
Better roll bad.
Why do I get to roll?
Because I usually pick on Neil. It takes you 6 hours.
I rolled so high. I never roll high.
That's
Next
true.
time you roll for a health potion, you roll 1s.
That's true. You've used up your good d4s. You spend 6 hours going over these documents until you find Ellis. You find a name. Ellis Grey Harbor. Whether Ellis wanted to give a fake name or not, I think Ellis has documentation on her because she's a mercenary. And mercenaries, they have actual good documentation if they're legitimate businesses, and Ellis is more legitimate than some. So you find he's like, oh, a murder. Oh, well.
Oh boy, Auntie, what have you gotten yourself into this time?
I realize I should have made you do a deception roll earlier, but this guy ain't getting paid enough. He nods and says, well, says here she was taken to Wellwall Camp. That's good. Means they haven't executed her. Means she was useful.
That is good. Perhaps you could give us directions to Wellwall Camp?
He kind of looks at you for a bit. Give me a persuasion roll. This is a look legitimate. Yeah, persuasion. This is a look legitimate roll. Yeah, easy peasy. You have a +8. I just basically like to see you roll. I like to look where you roll. I also like how when you roll, Neil, it always rolls onto Dean. It's just as it always smacks him in the face.
Just the way I like to do it.
Onto
It's
Dean.
just the way I roll.
Hey! So what, he sort of nods and he gets down a piece of paper, and seeing that you read Dwarven, he does start writing it in Dwarven, with like a thick, actual paintbrush to write the Dwarven text, because it just makes more sense, to write Dwarven like that. And you get good directions. This camp is, oh, actually, I have exactly how many hours away it is from the city. I just need to find it in my notes. It's exactly 1 day's ride away by carriage or horse. And by that, it's like traveling day, so probably 12 hours or so. If you wanted to ride
So it's
through the
outside.
night. It's outside the city to northwest. He describes it as being quite close to the mountainside. Are you guys being rude, dudes?
No. We're taking it all in. But I will summarize for you, Ollie. Ian's eating healthy carrots. I'm eating sweets. Aaron's eating sweets. And Dean's eating plastic plasters.
Well, I have a nice Diet Coke. Please
Not
have
even
me
like,
money.
not even like elastoplast. Like these are the. Oh my god.
Clearance, wow.
Okay.
I
Dean,
found
you'll
that
get your
so
time!
good Camera out of focus. Oh, it's come back now. It must have focused on the can of Bud Light for a moment.
Sorry.
So, you get your directions, and I imagine you set off, unless you want to do any more preparations.
Aaron, did you just put that one up your nose?
No, I'm sorry. I'm covering.
She's a reasonable lady who doesn't want to watch a crowd of people watch her eat. I had a friend who... I've had a lot of friends who do that. It's just I mean,
I don't know. It feels weird.
It's
I'm sorry. What was the question, Ollie?
Do you want to immediately head out, or do you want to prep or do anything in the meantime? Dean, don't do that. It's weird.
I think I had everything all good to go.
I'm ready to go whenever, yeah.
You don't have horses.
Oh, fuck. We had to travel?
It's a day's ride away. You could get a carriage, but you could also buy a horse.
We can get horses.
Cool. That's standard 75 gold
Yeah,
price.
I'll pay for it, yeah.
Nice.
If he can't, because he's a kid. So.
I mean, you both got given the same amount of reward money, but I don't know if Ross would complain.
No, I can't afford it.
It's such a trivial detail to you as an elf.
It's
How
touch
much
that
money?
child. It's
Yeah.
fine.
You buy horses, you set off. You'll arrive there, assuming that you sleep a little bit in the night. Elves don't sleep. Assuming that Ross sleeps a little bit in the night. You can get there tomorrow noonish. So, what happened with Ellis? Where is Ellis? Well, Ellis is in Wellwall Camp. Ellis was taken...
To punch in stomach, punch in face.
Yeah, it's the
slap.
you know the start of Ant-Man, where he just
Oh,
gets punched a bunch. Yeah, that's what's going on there. Well, we'll see. Ellis is at Wellwall Camp. It is a prison camp, a prison mining camp to be accurate. She's been put to work in the mines. She was tricked in very quickly. All her stuff was already taken off her by then. It would be back at Northampton, funnily enough. Not that they would have checked or even thought about that. But you were trekked into this place. Doesn't look like that big. You're like, oh, maybe this is an executioner place because you were told you were going to a prison. But this looks really small from the outside because there's a wall and a tower. No, it's just the prison is inside the mountainside, more or less, as they mine out channels and then they actually mine. You were given a room, which is basically a small a small hole in the wall, yeah. And in that room is Altus Kindle, who you've got to know over the day that you've been working here. So, after another long day of work, of basically you're pushed down into the mine to mine. And before you get any ideas, the pickaxes you have, the crappiest fucking quality. They're like really badly tempered copper. It's like if this was your actual job, you wouldn't use this tool. But obviously they give you really crappy weapons so that the guards in armor are less likely to be badly damaged by your really crappy picks if you rebelled. But it appears that the most people have quite a crushed spirit. So that's not happening. But yeah, after another day's working of literally working down the mines, because Ellis is pretty strong, and so is Altis. You guys bunk together and also probably are side by side in the mines together. You're sent back up to the mess hall for a nice bowl of slop. And this isn't even like tavern quality slop. There might have been a chunk of meat in the entire bowl that the chef has. It's mostly just like slightly beef tasting water. But somehow it's still thick. Anyway, and that's where you are.
Put special cockroach juices in it to thicken it up nicely.
No doubt there's like someone in the corner who just like grabs a cockroach and eats it and is like, oh, that's good. Oh, I needed that. Like, it's a very rough place. These are all prisoners? Well, criminals who are accused of crimes that are really bad, but they're strong enough that, okay, we'll put them to usage, and also they can't pay the gold fine to leave, you know? That's the kind of people you're keeping company with. So you've had a hard day work, you get in a bowl of slop, I imagine you start casing the joint together, Ellis and Altis. Altis, why don't you describe yourself real quick?
I'm relatively tall. I'm like a hair away from 6 foot. I'm quite a beefy dude. A hair away.
Yeah.
A pube and some air, as they say.
Do they say that?
Do they?
No one says that.
I was going to say, is that just what they say in the north?
I don't know what my token looks like. I didn't get a chance to see it.
You should be able to see it if you scroll down.
Below the map.
You're a dude.
I have
Just
short,
a generic dude.
You're
short
just a
brown
generic
hair.
dude.
I have a slightly long, normal. I look like Scott, but angry.
And you're human, yeah?
Yeah.
Unlike Scott.
Oh yeah, that's important to know. I am a human, like
Yeah.
Scott.
2 humans
What?
sitting in prison together.
And I'm currently not really paying attention to anything. I'm just eating my slop.
Altus has been here for a while.
Mhm.
He definitely has prison scars. Probably has prison tats.
Yeah.
So he's been here for a while.
It's a
He's
tattoo
been
that says
giving you the ropes.
"Ma'am," M-A-M.
Good, ma'am.
Ellis would be eating slowly and just be like, well, I'm not sure this is better or worse than the last damn prison I was in.
Food's better.
Didn't stay long enough in the last one to even get a chance to eat anything. That was a good thing. You could get out quickly. Bad thing was you had to fight in a damn pit to get out. You never tried to get out of here, Kindling?
Why? Food's okay. I'll get out soon.
Soon. How? What are you even in here for?
Boss tells me to hit people. I hit them, and sometimes the guards don't like that. So I get thrown in places like this. Food's nice though.
Oh my god, give me Slade any day of a damn week.
Oh! Hopefully Scott isn't
Anyway.
watching.
What's a Slade?
Fingers was the guy I was in with last time, along with some bloody brute half-orc dude. Well, you're going to be good at hitting things at least if I want to get out. But
Whose
probably not
fingers?
easy.
I knew that was coming.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Kindling. Just you keep eating that bloody slop. I will do. Oh, I'm not a thinker either, but I'll do the bloody thinking here. Maybe I don't know. What, Ollie? What are the what's the cell like in terms of
The cell
like?
you have, so you're not in your cell right now.
No, but
you're
just
in actually one of the few buildings that is outside the mountain. It's a wooden building, but there's a rock stone wall outside. The cell is essentially you would go down a corridor carved into the mountain. You go into a little rectangular room carved into the mountain, and you would have blankets, and there would be actually in the side there would be 2 carved bunks that are not even. It's a very bumpy surface, not good for sleeping, not good, no great. But the door is actually just straight wood on the other side, but with a metal bar. Now you have heard rumors that if you cause trouble, you go into what they call the smaller hole. The guards don't call it that. The guards
Wonder
just say
what
you'll
that
be
one
punished. But the rest of the people, and probably Altis described it to you as the smaller hole. Which apparently is you're just entirely closed in by rock.
Oh, well, if we want to get out, best chance is probably when we're in this damn hall, because we're actually not in the mountain then. Don't think getting all the way from the damn cell to outside is going to be practical. Best chance would really be to cause a bloody riot and get out into confusion, but these bastards are all proper beaten down, ain't they? I mean, worse than you, they're not even going to think about getting out. Take a hell of a long time to talk them into anything.
Do you want to get out?
Damn straight I want to get out.
Do you need some people to be hit?
I might well do, but not without a good plan. This isn't going to be easy. They're going to be watching closely. It's proper walls all around. There's a tower. This is.
Well, I don't mind swinging the first fist. I've been in the small hole several times. It's fine by me.
It's appreciated, Kindling, but well, a fire doesn't burn when there's no fuel, and these guys aren't.
No fire fists.
Yes, quite. Hell. But just is there anyone at all who looks like vaguely alive, or are they just all
Go ahead and give me a perception check. I know what you're looking for. You're looking for characters.
Yeah, I'm looking for characters.
You're looking for anyone who doesn't look completely downtrodden, but I would
Yeah.
just tell you, and you actually know this, dwarven punishment? I mean, usually dwarves just straight kill you. But this is dwarven punishment with human rules. They break you down. That's why this works. That they break you, and then they have people like Altis also join in the breaking. They are designed for this kind of thing. So, in 18 perception, you notice quite a few things. You always notice that there's quite a few guards in the room. They do a couple of patrols. Guards in this place, they wear usually either leather armor or something a little bit stronger, but they have crossbows and usually some other sort of equipment. They are always keeping watch, but they're guards in a prison. They don't give so much of a fuck. You already know if there's a fight, they're not really gonna stop it. But if you're trying to get out of here, they'll probably kill you. But people who are alive, who have like a spark of life in them, there is a dwarf who appears to be running the joint. To put it that way.
Okay.
They call him the wolf. He has you can kind of guess why, because he has sort of that grey black white mottled sort of color in his long beard and long hair. He actually looks really young for a dwarf.
Okay.
And also because when he grins, he has like a chip on one of his teeth that makes it look like he has a fang. Doesn't actually, but it kind of looks that way. And he seems to be running the joint for the most part, where he's, he actually never caused any trouble with you. Altus would probably tell you to keep clear of him, and he has a gaggle of mooks and goons, as most people do. And there's a couple of other people who are fairly have their shit together. There is someone who Altus, well, maybe not Altus told you because he's not got the best way with words, but someone told you who is a denounced priest who still does sermons to Bahamut here. The guards let him, but when he gets a little too into it, they do beat him up. But he is actually pretty with it. If you wanted to have a conversation with him, his name is Bullrock. You absolutely can. And then there's a couple of other people you might find along the way, but most people are just broken down. You've also been warned, just in general. You don't see her right now. The warden. You've been told that if you're gonna cause trouble, don't do it while the warden's around, because apparently the warden's hammer is just infused with magic, and you're like warned this by a guy who has one arm. It's like, I entered this place with two arms. That sort of thing.
And what in terms of, because I would have presumably gotten a look as I was on my way in, what was like the entrance, the walls, and the tower like?
Let me open up my notes. So it's up against the mountainside, where the sort of steep. So that side is basically covered. So now, intentionally people could climb it, but they've got a guard tower for that exact purpose. The walls outside are stone. They're only a story high, but you can see them right now if you look like out the window, and there actually are windows here. There's usually guards up there with crossbows. The tower is a couple stories higher, and you just straight up can't see. That looks like actually would be part of a castle or a fortress. That's like the proper thing, if that makes sense. The outer walls, they're fine quality, but they're nothing special. Like, any old town will have outer walls, this kind of thing. But that tower is the scary thing.
And is that tower standalone, or is it built into the wall?
It's built into the wall, a little bit around one of the sides.
Okay.
Cast a shadow on your camp right now.
For the time being, I'm just going to play it safe, not do anything to stand out. I'm not talking to anyone in particular at this moment. I'm just going to go with the punishment. I'm trying to come up with a decent plan.
That's what they want, exactly. So you settle into your life of slop and mining.
It's a good life.
I was going to make a joke about Bitcoin, but I couldn't think about it. You have Altis, who is at least mildly amusing sometimes. To keep your
and
shit
mildly
together.
exasperating.
And equal parts. He really is Scott. But so that's good. You get back to working. You slop. You eat your slop. Yeah. Go to bed. doesn't pass.
She would also be like trying to keep her spirits up, like even after or after the work, she would like be doing some exercise to keep us that she'd be used to from being a mercenary,
Keeping
like
your
muscle
routines
exercise
up.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, the next day, Ross and Adri do make it to Well Wall. You see exactly what I've just described. This really impressive tower and a wall around it, which you can probably connect. Okay, yeah, the camp is further, much more inside the mountain than anything. Which isn't surprising. Dwarves. You can ride up there. There is a little bit of a stable outside because it's a fort. You are flagged down by a guard as you're like coming up to it. It's like, excuse me? What are you doing here? You're muted.
Oh, we're here to see his aunt.
You're here on
She
a
was-
visit?
Yes, we were directed by one of the officials back in Northampton.
He just like stares at you for a bit. And and frowns. And then like scratches his face like, okay, that's unusual. But
Perhaps it would be best if I spoke to your superior about this.
Alright. Fine.
I just don't want to cause you any more trouble.
I'll keep your horses nice and fed while you go and do that. And he will stay up your horses, and then he'll talk to another guard. You don't exactly hear the conversation, but you do see like everyone's like, they're confused. This doesn't happen. This is not a prison in the modern day where you get visits. So
Once we're away from everybody and like we're walking towards
Yes.
the camp, I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna say to him, like, "Listen, I'm gonna let you do what you think you can. I can break them out during the night if need be.
Well,
But until then, do what you will.
I kind of thought that
I'll help
if
you
we-
where you can."
if we could get sights on the head that they confiscated as evidence, then all we have to do is get someone to correctly identify him as an assassin, and then say, well, you have to let them free because this person's a mercenary killing an assassin. And if you don't, my family will sue you, and hopefully they'll go away with the bluff, and then we'll leave quickly.
And if they try to check your fake family, it doesn't exist.
It does.
Oh, well then.
But if they check, father hears, then hopefully they won't check.
Then we break them out in the middle of the night.
Yes.
I understand. Okay.
So while you're going, the word is passing down through the guards. Like there are some very, very aggressive attack dogs that are reined in from attacking you. I can see one of them right now. But you are brought in. It's one of those things where actually the outer wall, there's the fort bit, but there is actually a little bit of stone building to the front where the road would come in. And the road here actually was very rough. It wasn't a cobblestone road or anything, just a track. But you come in and you know you actually just hear it being like, these are the people who are here to visit the prisoner, and then that kind of cascades along with you as you're told to wait. And after about 10 minutes, the warden walks into this room, and this room is not a front desk office. This is clearly the holding cell, where well like there's the holding cell, you can see it, and here's the processing, you know. The warden walks down from what you can probably connect is the stairs that go up the wall, so from the top of the wall, and she is kind of scary looking. She is a middle-aged human woman. She is in pretty tough-looking Northumberland armor. She's got a fucking cape. Her nose is just completely it's been broken so many times. It's just like mush at this point. And she's looking with this intense, like, who the fuck is coming into my operation kind of look. And she like no attempt to hide it, has this hammer on her hip that's like hanging down, and it looks it's like stone, and it's so masterfully crafted, and you actually it's no just hiding it. There's like a dwarven rune carved into the side of each side of the hammer. It's straight glowing. It's kind of like, okay, but she comes down and just like, so you're here for a visit by some official? You know, forgive me, but this does not happen every day.
Yes, I understand it might be something that you find difficult to accommodate. However, my father insisted that I find out whether my aunt is alive before I proceed.
Your aunt is...
Ellis goes by the name Ellis Grey Harbour. Probably best to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't even, like, look at any kind of documentation, just like, yeah, came in recently. Accused of murder. So, I don't know what you're thinking here. You're not going to see her. She's dangerous.
So, I can see her, just not speak to her is what you mean. You have a tower. I can literally look down at her and see her.
Give me a persuasion roll. It's good logic. Good logic. I like it. Fairly bad roll. I'm actually going to roll against that with her. I don't always for NPCs. It's just like, that makes sense. But, she just kind of gives you a look, and then looks to Adri. Are you still pretending to be a human?
Yes.
What family are you from again?
My father has told me not to say. I perhaps could reveal that information, but I'm not really at liberty to do to one of your status.
You don't have any kind of identification? You're walking in here with some frickin' cockamamie story. I don't believe very much of it, to be entirely honest, sir.
If she does look at me, watch this, I would say bodyguard and kind of like shuffle my equipment.
She nods.
Name the weaponry?
Yeah, she nods at that. That isn't surprising to her. Maybe there's a little bit of mutual respect that you see from her. But she's mostly bothered by Ross. Like, you're gonna need to prove your story one way or another.
I can get a form of identification sent to me. However, my father would be rather annoyed at the extra expense involved in that. You have to understand that when an important family has to do this before they even find out that their family member is alive, oh, well, let's just say father has given me some beatings.
We do just want to prove that this is the person we're looking for.
Yes, there's
before
no
any
need,
of that.
no need for anything further at this point. Obviously, if it were to go further, then we could produce the necessary documents.
So here's an interesting situation. You can either give me a persuasion, deception, or intimidation, because it was all three.
I'll let Ross do that. Can I
Yeah,
provide
Ross absolutely does that.
Assistance?
You don't
any of
provide
it?
assistance. I was just lowering their roll for it because it wasn't that much.
That's fine.
But she nods like, okay, I understand the things that you're saying. She basically is nodding through the entire stuff you're saying. It's like, yeah. You know, it is policy that civilians are not allowed onto the walls here at Wellwall, but as long as you two behave yourselves and keep your hands where I can see them, I don't want any kind of conjuring.
Of course.
Then, okay. They're just leaving their lunch, so maybe you will see your aunt. And she starts leading you up the stairwell. Walk along the wall for a little bit. You go into the fort. You can clearly tell there's a way into the fort from inside, but it's just easier.
What was your name?
My name is Warden Menwellen.
Menwellen. Well, if things go well, I'll be sure to mention to Father how helpful you were.
He doesn't give a fuck.
I'll be sure to keep an eye on them. To, like, reassure her.
She does give you a glance. You go up a spiral staircase. It actually be like a hexagonal staircase. It's like a hexagonal tower. Up into the fort. It is a flat area with crossbows. Actually, like 3 guards in here with crossbows. And they look and they're a little confused.
What race are they, Ollie?
The guards, a mixture of human and dwarf.
Okay.
Just to simplify, everyone's human and dwarf. These guys actually on top of the tower are mostly human. Why? Because they're taller and have easier time shooting down from a tower.
Because you can't make the parapets for dwarves and humans, because then it's unsafe for humans.
They can. They actually, when you were going up the tower, there were crossbow slits in the walls, which would totally be acceptable for dwarves. But the guys up here are all human. But from just glancing around the guards, probably more of them are dwarf. But she is a human. She shows you up here and points to up here you can see the camp much better. There is one big wooden building which you can quite clearly see is the mess hall, and then open channels into the mines. Some of them, and then a little bit of an area that's kind of a yard, like a prison yard, but there's dogs. They run the place, and so people don't hang out. No, it's just it is there. You can actually give me a history roll if you give a fuck. I ain't gonna make a character that don't give a fuck give him a history roll. Is that a no one cares?
Is that no? Yeah. No.
I was thinking Neil maybe gave a fuck. Okay, good. And she kind of like motions. It's like, all right, she might be leaving the mess hall. Well, she will be leaving the mess hall in a bit. And actually, in this tower is the bell, like the camp bell. It's not a huge. It's not like a huge thing, but it's it's not like a handbell or anything. It's big enough that the camp can hear. Or probably if it is a mine, probably can't hear a bell all the way down a mine. They probably have to like relay information down. But she straight up goes over and rings the bell. And you see people starting to shuffle out of the mess hall. They look fucking rotten. They look like they're downtrodden is the word. And I assume, Ellis, they see you leave.
Well, yes, Ellis will probably be glaring at anything and everything.
Give me a
looking
perception roll.
generally. Who, me or me?
You, Ellis.
Me, okay.
You actually see Ross up the tower. You like glare up the tower because you're kind of like counting the guards as well. And you've like, okay, these guards are up there. You actually see Ross. You don't see Adri. You see Ross down there like peering down. Or maybe it's him. Maybe it's just like a child or a young girl. Like, you don't know. You guess.
The eyebrows go up, basically.
Ross is going to point at Ellis, and he also surreptitiously reaches a finger into his component pouch. And he goes, look, that's Auntie. And he casts message.
Give me, roll me a d10.
A flat old D10.
Flat old d10.
Do I notice Ellis looking?
You notice
Okay,
Ellis
no.
looking. Yeah, she's probably not entirely. You notice when you see there's a guy pointing down at her from the tower, which usually in your experience isn't a good thing.
He just like takes a sideways step away from the pointing finger, like.
Ross, you've done message before, and it burns you. Like there's a heat to it. The magic. You actually don't feel it. In fact, you're like fairly sure the spell didn't work. But yeah, the guy. What are you doing, Altis? You see the guy pointing.
I lean into like Ellis, and I go.
Basically, involves stooping down.
Yeah, I'm like behind you, and I'm like. Take some guys after you.
Yeah, they're on our side, though.
We're on your side.
Yeah.
You said you didn't know anybody in here. Are you lying?
No, they're not in here. They're out from outside. I don't know how the hell they got in. I assume they've come to get me. Don't know why they would, but I assume they've come to get me.
You're saying they broke into prison?
No, they haven't. Well, I don't think they. Oh, for God's sake.
That's
See?
stupid.
For hell's sake, God. This is ridiculous. No. They
4 hours of
wouldn't be-
trolling.
They wouldn't be standing nonchalantly at the top of a guard tower pointing at me if they'd broken in, standing next to guards. They have probably been let in. I don't know. The pretty boy's a good talker. He probably talked his way in somehow. I
Well,
assume they're going to try and get me out of here. Maybe legally. I don't know.
best defense is blending into a good offense. If I broke into a bird's nest, I'd pretend to be an egg. It doesn't mean I'm an egg.
Hello, strength.
Ross is going to clap. Well, that was very satisfactory. Now we know she's alive. As long as she stays that way, hopefully things will progress swimmingly. By any chance, do you know where they keep the evidence?
Excuse me.
What?
You she just kind of like gives you a look like evidence.
Yes,
Yes,
I
of
was
course.
told there was a head found at the scene, and this is why my aunt was
Yeah,
accused
it's
of murder?
probably in the city. This is for punishment. This is
Yes,
their
yes.
duty to the city.
The city is quite
If
large.
she took off someone's head, we
Yes,
wouldn't
okay.
have the head. In
Yes,
fact,
no.
I really hope that they gave them the burial that, you know.
Yes,
I don't know
we
if
know.
there is a special prayer to Bahamut for just someone's head, but if there is, I hope they gave it to it.
Right. Well,
Like, you can tell, like, she's just fucking with you because she's tired of you. Already.
Well-
You've met her for like 5 minutes.
the city is rather large, and presumably, as a warden who sees many prisoners, you have some knowledge of where I might find or ask someone to find out the evidence.
Give me a persuasion roll. She sighs. Yeah. Yeah, there's several ways to go about that. Probably it'll be... Most cases are dealt with in the palace by lawyers and judges. She was accused of murder. Says there was a head on her, just like you said. So really, she's gonna be in here the rest of her life. Honestly, we're holding her here unless the court decides to take her life, but that rarely happens.
Yes.
So
Well,
you're gonna have to
I'm
go
not really,
to the palace.
I'm not really interested in your opinion on her. You know,
She
outcome of the
leans
judicial
in.
system.
She leans in and puts like a gauntleted hand on the hilt of her hammer, and you actually see as she does the glowing gets stronger, like this orange glow in the runes. It's like, I was about to do you a favor. I don't often do favors to pretty boy noble types like you. In fact, I quite enjoy it when you end up in here and you get taught a lesson, but not every problem can be solved by gold. So you sit and listen, and maybe your auntie doesn't get executed.
Right.
Because over there, that's where we're going to take off her head, if the
Right.
court decides.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. That's very useful. Remember, if you lay a hand on me with that weapon, I have a witness here, and you'll be the one spending time in here.
I know. I'm not
Everyone
stupid.
should calm down. No need to worry.
No,
Let's hear
she
the
meant no
woman out.
harm. She meant no harm. I understand. I was being rude. My apologies. You've been very helpful, like I said previously.
The
Please,
rare situation
continue.
where a PC ruins a crit. She just kind of shrugs like, if you want to sort it out, gonna have to talk your way into the palace, but I assume that won't be a problem for you.
Probably not. No.
I could we perhaps speak to the woman. Where do they stay? We just want to make sure she's okay, of course.
Give me a persuasion roll. She immediately just grimaces.
Yeah. That's Penny.
Yeah. She kind of like
No.
looks. Just like, No, you don't get to speak to the prisoners. You
That's
can
fair.
understand the
She's
complications.
Not my family. I'm just here helping, of course.
She's very devoted. Really earns her gold.
Good. Well, if you want to free your aunt, take it up with the palace. We can't release people. It's not what we do. We do what the orders are state. Wax seal and everything. And then,
we're done.
yeah, and then she escorts you back. Actually, she doesn't escort you out. She has one of the guards up here escort you out. He doesn't even put his crossbow away. He just like walks over with the crossbow and starts leading you out of the tower. You're led back to your horses, and then you're left alone, more or less.
Well,
That
how
went
good
well.
are you at sneaking into prisons?
I have not had the experience, so who knows? Might be really good, probably really bad. Probably, like, stays in the prison afterwards.
Well, we can either go back to the city and try to solve things there, or we can sneak out and try to save them tonight.
Now, I'm all for a swift action, but he
I have all the
motions
time in
at
the
the
world.
walls, and he's like,
However,
not sure how. Perhaps, you with your elvish swiftness and not sleeping and that sort of thing. But my areas
everything?
of expertise lie very much more in the palace direction.
Well, we can go towards your end then. And if that fails, we can come back.
That sounds like a good plan, Adri.
I have all the time in the world, as I said.
I have quite a lot of time as well.
For a human.
For a
Of
human.
course, you are quite young.
But Ellis doesn't have time. She's old, so old.
I could be a grandmother.
Really?
Well, yes.
Could you not get lines?
I mean, yes, eventually. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And
Maybe in the next, 100 or, 2 centuries or so.
right, that's interesting.
So you get on your horses and head back to the city. And with that, we're going to take a break. Ellis, still in prison. Sorry.
She's gonna get her knees broken. I did nearly threaten her that if we came back and Ellis was hurt in any way, then, but I didn't. So now we're gonna come back and she's gonna smash Ellis's knees. You're not getting out of here one way or another.
Hey, well, we'll see when that eventually happens. In a couple of minutes. Be back in a couple of minutes. Come on, use your brain.